Okay. And I think, yeah, now we are live. Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up, chat? How are you all doing? Thank you for joining us here.
Hello.
And I have a very special guest here with me today. I have Mark from Airlim. For those of you that don't know his channel, I have linked it in the description below so you guys can check it out. But he does a lot of Power Ranger and pop cultural content on his channel where he gives some commentary. And he's been involved in the Ranger community for quite some time now. So, Mark, just go ahead and kind of like introduce yourself to the people here.
Let me load up the chat as well because I can see it. I have to log into a different account. Yeah, I've been doing this since 2006, I think, roughly. And I've just basically followed the Rangers since, or the franchise since, I think, 90, well, obviously 93, since when I was little. I kind of really liked it. And then I think when YouTube came about, I was like, oh, I'll talk about Power Rangers. And therefore, it kind of went on. So I kind of generally really liked talking about Power Rangers because I think it's one of the best things out there. And obviously, I've been excited now for the brand to be taken over by Hasbro, and just literally everything. So I've seen the progression of when it went from Saban to Disney to Neo Saban, and obviously now we've got the lovely Hasbro era.
Yep, there you go. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, he is joining us from across the pond there. So
yes.
Thanks for that, Mark. I know it's a bit later on your end there, so I appreciate you being on. But so recently, obviously, the main reason why we're having you on here is really to discuss the situation that Hasbro has taken up here lately. Oh, and a couple of people are saying hi to you here in the chat. We see Daniel Romano saying, "Hey, Mark," and we have Paul Beam saying, "Hey, Mark."
I can see.
So some people know you.
I don't know how the chat works. I've never really done something like this, so I'm guessing like I'll just say, "Hey guys."
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm going. Yep, there you go. Yeah, you put in the chat there. So, but so yeah, the whole situation seems to be all right. You're a little bit more informed about this situation because I know that you've actually been hit by it. I'm sure they'll get around to me at some point. I haven't noticed that they've gotten me yet, but I did get hit, and I'm sure you remember this too when this was happening. The Saban Power Rangers channel, I did get hit by them a couple, maybe one or two times before the shift, before finally, the contract on the ink was dry for Hasbro. I know that I had gotten hit by the Saban Power Rangers channel that tried to claim one of my videos. Of course, I fought it and I ended up winning that. So I was able to get the monetization restored on my channel. But Hasbro hasn't gotten to me yet, knock on wood, but I know that it'll probably be only a matter of time before they do. But I know that they've gotten you recently. So maybe you could kind of go over what it was that they came after you for.
From what I remember, pretty much I got hit by, it was something like the things that you may have missed in the trailer. So I'm very kind of like, when I watched like the sneaks stuff, so when they had that whole massive fight in the first episode, there were loads of things that I noticed. I was like, oh, top of the morph canister thing where they get the powers for the Morph X, there's the cheetah, there's this, and you didn't see it because it moves so quickly. There were things that I think were some Easter eggs that they decided to put in, that they thought, oh, the fans would like to see this. So I thought, oh, do you know what, I'll make a video, and it did really, really well. I was so excited, and I think it must have been like a few days after or something, in comes a copyright claim, or a claim, not a strike. So basically all that went to Hasbro. So I don't know how much money went to them, but I think the video may have taken something like 5 hours to edit, because it was record the video, go past each spot and go, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, then put the pictures in and then release the video. Now I know obviously with photos, it falls under the fair use, under the copyright section of like 107 or 207, which is fine. But when you kind of send this to Hasbro, or when you appeal it, they just come back and go, no, it's just not going to have that. And you're like, well, hang on a minute, I'm following fair use, I'm following what you've got. if I remember correctly, on YouTube, you have the Creative Commons, which is basically if they put it up there, you can use that under fair use as long as it's under the same thing as like news, reporting, criticism, and stuff. And fair dues, you get to use it. But when you appeal to it, they basically just come back and say, no, we're not listening to this. We're not going to look at the dispute. So I don't know if someone on the other end doesn't know about the copyright, like the copyright thing, or they're just going, no, that's our content. How dare you make this? But what I kind of find is that the best way of saying it is it kind of deters you from making more content, because if this is a full-time job for someone and they decide to go, hey, look, I'm spending hours like researching and doing all this, and all of a sudden they get hit, it's like, well, why should I make a video? Some people carry on, which I do. It's like, I don't really care, but I don't want to be hit constantly by Hasbro going like, oh, fair dues, there's like 5 videos in a row that have now just been claimed. So it just kind of gets a bit kind of irritating. And I know other creators as well, they've been hit as well, and like nothing happens whatsoever. Ages ago, when it was Saban, I spoke to Jason, who's on there. So again, like it's not his department to go down this, but he was the only direct way of saying to Hasbro or to Saban, hey, can you help me out? And they did. He went through the department, went through everything, and it was all released. So it was actually quite interesting, and we were all very thankful for him. But now it just seems like there is no way to get in contact with Hasbro. I think my friend Ben, he found an email address and Dave sent it and said, hey, come here. So we can actually turn around and say, hey, yeah, can we deal with this? But there is no direct contact with Hasbro. I keep wanting to say Saban, but yeah, there isn't any way to talk to Hasbro direct and say, hey, we're following the laws of fair use. We're doing stuff. We're promoting your product for free. You don't have to pay a marketing team. We're promoting it because we're so excited. Compared to we're the 3rd episode in and it hasn't sucked, compared to where some of the other seasons where it's like opens quite strongly and then it sucks balls and you're like, oh, really? But everything from Hasbro has been decent, but it's very kind of frustrating.
Dang. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's something that I know I've talked about here with the chat at times before is stuff like that. I did mention on live stream last time that exactly, pretty much kind of going over what you just said. But when they do stuff like this, it really it's not very motivating because you're enthusiastic about talking about their product and they're kind of hamstringing you. Well, it's not they are hamstringing you from talking about it because you have that constant fear of them claiming. And the thing is, you're actually putting work to talk about their product, especially when it's, I think the most frustrating part for any content creator, especially, is even if you just like maybe just a small snippet, but you're putting the rest of the work into editing this video and it's just claimed for maybe just one part, and all that other work just goes completely out the window because of just one part that's in it, that they decide and say, well, you know what, this is ours, and we're going to claim this video because you use something of ours. And it doesn't matter that it falls under fair use, you still used it, even though it's only maybe like a second or just a brief flash on screen. We're going to claim your entire video for that one, millisecond or second or whatever it is, however many seconds that you put it in there. And that sucks. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. I know that's one of the biggest things I know for a fact, especially when a lot of companies started doing this back in the day when the flagging system really got out of control. I know Angry Joe was one of the ones that really got hit by it hard. I think something like 60 plus of his videos got hit by some of these video game companies. And a lot of that was automatic. It wasn't actually supposedly it wasn't people coming into these companies coming into these videos and actually claiming it. It was supposed to be more because of the blanket system at the time. I don't know if you ever got that cleared up because I don't really follow Angry Joe that much, but I do remember that controversy. And I remember a lot of it was, his entire video being claimed for maybe just snippets of certain content that he was putting in from these video game companies, like whether it be footage or whatever, and his entire video would be claimed. And Angry Joe, I know, does much longer form videos, you know, like 30+ minute videos. So I know that he was like outraged because it's like that's only there for a few seconds. You know, the rest of the other 30+ minutes that I put into that movie into that video is all me. You know, it's all stuff that I created originally for that video. And now I lose all that ad revenue just because of that little bit that's in it. So I'm not saying it's necessarily the same with all across the board with everybody, but that's just an example of how these things get out of control. And, you know, it sucks because even the thing is, pictures is one thing. I think it's even more frustrating, especially when it's pictures, because you're really like going out of your way to not use actual video content. Although video content to a limited capacity, it does also fall under fair use, but in a more limited capacity. I know that. So I mean, I know for me, especially for my documentary series that I do, I always, especially now that I'm heading more, when I started to head into the Saban stuff, that's, you know, I don't use any footage at all for that. I use, you know, I use like what you were doing, you know, using screenshots and things like that, because I was afraid that, you know, it might be claimed. And really anytime that I talk about anything, maybe from Saban era on now in regards to this series, I'm going to have to probably do that. And it sucks. And the other thing too is looking at it on a broader scale here, and this is something that I had mentioned to fans, you know, here that I was talking about with them, was that Hasbro, this is something I've mentioned several times at this point, so I know everybody in the chat I know has heard this before. Hasbro has the opportunity to do things that Saban could have only dreamed of doing. You know, they I think they got off to a good start with going back to a show like Go Busters and adapting it. And I thought it was a perfect fit for them to start off with that, because of the fact that you know, the Go Busters, you know, the weapons are transformable and things like that. So it just seemed kind of a little bit of tongue in cheek, because, you know, Hasbro is really known for Transformers and things like that. So it just, and with the Buddy Roids and all that, it just seemed like a good fit for them to start off with a show like Go Busters as being their first adapted show. And they had all this, you know, they have all these opportunities. You know, you see the toys come out, the toys look amazing, you know, with the, you know, the figures, they're not these hulking figures like we've been used to seeing. You know, the suits on the figures actually look like suits. Like if you look like where the pants meet the boots, you can see it's crinkled up like pants, you know what I mean? So it's just like, so you see this, it's like, wow, this looks great. You know, look at all this cool stuff that they're already doing. The show comes out, you know, the show seems to be universally praised by fans. Then you have content creators, you know, making videos with their enthusiasm. Then all of a sudden, you know, these videos are being claimed, you know, and it's like, well, what are you doing, Hasbro? You know, it's just like, there's people talking about your product in a very positive light. They're talking about the first show you're producing here in a very positive way, and kind of just spreading the word, you know, building more of that excitement behind it. And now to these content creators that are taking time, like yourself, that are making this content, it almost feels like you're being punished for that.
It does in a way. And as I said, like before, if it says like you take 5 hours to make a video, so you go through the process, record, edit, and then release, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, yes, people are going to watch my opinions, you know, they're going to think, you know, are they going to agree, or are they going to disagree? But then all of a sudden when you get that email, it's like, but like, oh great. And then if it's Hasbro saying like, oh, you know, you've used our footage, you've used this, and it's like, but it still falls under fair use. You know, why can no one see this? Because this is exactly what, as like Saban did, you know, they just went no and constant. And in a way, for Hasbro to produce all this stuff, because I mean, like, yeah, the episodes are great. You know, I've really enjoyed it, and I haven't enjoyed a series for a very long time. I think Dino Charge may have been like the one that I was like, do you know what, this is okay. but then when you've got all this content that you take so much time, and then you see other people as well that get really excited, and then they get hit as well, and you're just like, come on guys, seriously, Hasbro, you have this chance where you can reach out to all to big, small, to massive like creators that are basically giving you free promotion. I mean, like, say for example, if like say 5,000 people on my channel didn't know what Beast Morphers were or Go Buster, they could go like, oh, let's check this guy out. Oh, this seems really good. I'm now going to do it. That extra person, those 5,000 people, could end up buying the products, could end up buying the Blu-rays, DVDs, actually watching it, tuning into Nickelodeon, because we don't have it over here yet. I think we get the series in August or something, or June or July. But again, it's like one of those things where they could easily go, okay, well, I'll wait for the series to air over in the UK, in Europe, wherever. And then that's more viewership where they get kind of excited. And sometimes people may go like, do you know what, I'm going to make my own content, but I'm now scared because Hasbro are going to come along and go, oh, use that one picture out of a 12-minute video, that's all gone. And then you can get kind of like, oh, I don't want to make anymore. Like they get deterred from it. I just think it's just, I don't want to get in trouble with them because I like promoting the product, but I think that they've got to also give us content creators a kind of leeway. Like if they turn around and set rules, go, okay, you can't use any video footage, but you can use up to 5 pictures in one video, and that's it. We'd all be like, do you know what? That's fair enough. We can do this. But as a lot of people have said, it feels like sometimes it's a little bit of censorship. Like you can't talk about our brand, or you can, but yet we're going to get that money from you, or we're going to make sure that this video is not seen anywhere in the world bar, I don't know, Kuala Lumpur, and that's it. And then you're just like, do you know what? Why should I continue making stuff? In case it's going to be like I'm going to get slammed, or okay, fair enough, we're not going to use any images, we're not going to use any footage, and that will be fine. But then some people might go like, do you know what, I really like that face Roxy or Blaze pulled in that episode. What do you mean from that one thing? And you're like, well, guys, you're going to have to go to time code 3.2 in the episode, and there you go, you're going to see it.
See, that's horrible, and it's crazy to me because that's one thing I think that Nintendo kind of taught people in general there once, because Nintendo, they did kind of the same thing, right? They were claiming it then, but then Nintendo kind of conceded ground a little bit, and they found a way to compromise by creating their partner program, which that was around for a couple years afterwards too, which it was a nice kind of olive branch, although most people still didn't like it though, because Nintendo was still claiming they were still getting like, I think something like 40% of the ad revenue from those videos still, but at least people were able to kind of still make Nintendo content without losing out on ad revenue for a bit. And the thing is, eventually though, that went away because so many people stopped making Nintendo content on YouTube because they're just like, nah, why? There's so much other gaming content I could make. I'm just not going to bother making any more Nintendo content because, I'm putting all this work into editing this video, and I don't want to have to. I'm making a transformative work with something that you have. Like I said, it's not a thing of like Hasbro not being well within their right to claim. They are well within their right to claim stuff like that, but at the same time, what creators like yourself, like me, and like others are doing is much more beneficial to them in the long run, because we are spreading the word of something that they've made with a lot of fervor, a lot of enthusiasm, and in a sense, and we're also influencing people to check it out, and that's really going to help their bottom line more in the future. Because here, at the end of the day, here's the thing. If people are going out to the stores and buying their merchandise, that's good for them. You know what I mean? They're still going to get their money regardless. The fact that they're kind of holding creators under a microscope so much and being like, well, no, we want that money too. It's just like, well, come on. It's just like, you don't need to go that far. You know what I mean? You're still going to get your money regardless, because again, people are going to come back around to you. They're going to come back around to your products, period. So just for people in the chat there, we'll start taking questions probably in a little bit more. So just be patient with us. I appreciate you guys all being here. Don't think that we're not going to take questions for those of you wondering. So, but getting back to it, eventually, I don't know if you know, but Nintendo finally, eventually, that finally went away. I think it was a couple months back. They finally did away with their partner program because they realized after all this time. I mean, for a couple years of them doing this, they're just like, this is not helping us. You know what I mean? This is turning people off to talking about our stuff here on YouTube. So they finally pulled the plug on that, and they're like, you know what? Let's let people make content. Let's just leave them alone. Let's let them talk about our stuff again. And you know, they finally released it, and it's been good. You know, everything has been good. And the thing is, I don't think that's something that Hasbro should have to go through. They should see that example and just learn from that already and say, you know what? Let's be hands off. Let's let the fans, you know, let's let them talk about our stuff and not have them feel like they're being punished for talking about that stuff. Because at the end of the day, I think that's the key thing. I think people are feeling like, hey, look, we want to talk about your stuff, but we don't want to have to fear. We don't want to have to fear somebody looking over our shoulder all the time and making us feel like we're doing something wrong by talking about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very, I say it is very off-putting. I'm trying not to sound really ungrateful because again, I understand that if Hasbro want to turn around and say, you know, you can't use your stuff here. Hello.
Just turning on the light. Yeah, I just had to turn on the light real quick.
Yeah, I mean, if Hasbro turn around and say like, you know, you can't use our stuff, it's like, fine, tell us this rather than, you know, slapping it down. Like if, say, for example, a video, I don't know, let's say the 10 things you missed or 9 things you missed in the video that I did, you know, if they turn around and said, you can't use any of this footage, then I'd be like, fine, you know, that video is sitting at almost, 7,000 views. It's like, cool. Tell us, like, you know, send out a press, send out, you know, to all the people that they're following and say, look, you know, guys, we're excited that you're making this brand. You know, we want to appreciate you, but please don't use our stuff. Because therefore, then we can cater our content around that and say, okay, fair enough. Like, you know, you don't want us to use your stuff. Fair enough. And but when they turn around and they slap these claims on us, you know, it gets a bit annoying over time. And at some point, someone could turn around and say, do you know what? You know, this person's done it 3 times. We're going to put a claim in or a strike, and then that's it. Boom. It's very, very frustrating. And if no one knows what like a strike is on your channel, it means that for 6 months you can't pretty much do anything. You can upload, but you're pretty much in YouTube jail for a while until that disappears and you're back into making stuff. But then that also puts a fear into someone saying like, okay, I don't really want to talk about the brand, because at the end of the day, if you get, like, say, the toys, now we all know that the toys are phenomenal, you know, they are amazing. But if I turn around and got the Red Ranger, went, okay, I don't really like the articulation in this because, you know, it feels too clunky, Hasbro could be like, and that video is now done. You know, it feels like that sort of way. You know, we'll find a way around it. Like I think Ranger Liz mentioned in her video that, you know, if she can't use content, she'll reenact it with the toys, which I generally had the same idea and went, do you know what? Let's just do that. Be like, oh, hello, Blaze. Hello, Red Ranger. Look, they fought, and then that's it. You know, it would be a great thing to do. Yeah. You know, something different, but sometimes it's easier just say, look, I really like this screenshot. I'm going to use it. But if, yeah, Hasbro are just going, nope, not allowed. So it's very frustrating.
No, I can imagine, man. And that's the thing. It's just like, because sometimes, I mean, to illustrate that point, it's always good to use that visual reference, that visual aid to really convey what it is that you're talking about. Is, you know, to better get that point across. And again, you know, having, you know, just being punished, you know, for that in a sense, you know, is not right. And like, just to further elaborate what Bardock mentioned there about being in YouTube jail, basically that 6 months, if you get that strike, you don't have the ability to live stream either, I believe, is part of that when you get that first strike. I'm not sure if it does anything to the monetization, but I know eventually, I think with enough, the monetization goes away too, which is, you know, obviously if this is a way that people make their living, or there's a good bulk of money that they get from doing this, that's hell, that's horrible, you know, because then it starts to literally affect your life at that point, because it's affecting your livelihood. So, you know, I hope that it's a situation that Hasbro kind of, you know, they kind of get their heads out of their rears, and you know, it wouldn't be good for them to have this kind of you know, kind of adversarial relationship with the fans, because they've literally just started, you know, they've just started courting the Power Rangers fans. You know what I mean? This is their first, you know, this is their first foray into Power Rangers, and everything was going good. Everything seemed to be going good up until this. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, this is the only thing that they really need to correct. And again, and just so for those of you watching, so you understand, they are well within their right to do this. So nobody's disputing that. Nobody's disputing the legality of what they're doing. They're well within their right to do it. It's just, again, you know, it's usually not a good idea to do things like this, because it alienates a fan base, which again, there's already people feeling alienated. I mean, it would, that's in a sense, I try to do more. I know that most of the people that are subscribed to me, though, you know, are subscribed to this channel mostly for the Power Rangers Tokusatsu content, which I love to do. I have no problem with it. But I also do try to do other content because of it. And I haven't really gotten into Beast Morphers stuff too much yet, but it's almost, it's interesting because it's like, it wasn't by any kind of particular design. It wasn't from me thinking like, oh, I better keep off of it just in case something happens. But it's almost, it like, I've seen it unfold and I'm like, oh man. And now it's even making me like, you know, like, oh man, should I now? Because now that I've seen like the stuff that's happening with other content creators like yourself, like, who'd you mention earlier?
You got Ranger Liz.
Ranger Liz. I think I've heard of her. I don't think I've seen her content, but I think I've heard of her. But like people like you and whoever else is being affected by this, it makes me step back and be, I don't know if I should now. And there's probably others that are in my position too that maybe wanted to make content or do make content that are now like rethinking. It's like, should I? Because nobody wants to risk getting a strike on their channel. I mean, that's especially, you know, like you said, be put in YouTube jail for 6 months. It could be detrimental. I mean, for me, this is one of my sources of income. It's not my primary source, but it is one of my sources of income as well. So of course, you know, it gets me afraid to try to put out content like that, because obviously I don't want to affect this avenue of revenue for myself. So, man, it's crazy, man. It's like it makes me step back from everything. I'm like, man, now I know there's people that want to see Beast Morphers content on my channel, but now it's kind of up in the air of like, when will I be able to really do it, and how will I be able to do it in a way that's presentable, that pleases my fans, but also kind of like I have to tiptoe around certain things. I have to walk on eggshells to make sure that Hasbro doesn't come after me and does something to my channel that could adversely, you know, by extension affect my livelihood. So
I think once you get into that mindset, that's when it gets horrible, because, you know, what in Hasbro's eyes, what turns around to be like what you can and can't use. So say, for example, you do an entire video, you don't use any of the content, but you use like a thumbnail from the show or something from their fair use, which they've put on their channel, which you go, okay, I'll use that screenshot. And then they come in and go, flagged. Another YouTuber, Mr. Wheatley Productions. So I was following I was following his stuff. And even when he didn't use anything in his video, but he used a thumbnail, the whole video got claimed. And it's like, well, okay, well, I won't use that, but you know, what stops Hasbro from going, no, that's it? And this does, as I say, as we've both mentioned, it starts something that makes like fans go, I'm not going to bother making content. You know, I'll stick to what's safe. And then when, you know, as you've had people come up to you and go, we want to see Beast Morphers on your channel, you're like, guys, I've got like 1,000 videos I want to do on it that are all primed and ready, but I don't want to risk getting a strike, getting like more copyright claims where all that money goes to Hasbro and then that's it. You just think, why. I mean, I'm just looking at the chat, like, do I think like some Power Ranger fans are upset? And I generally do. I think that when you have your favorite content creator that is used to a certain style saying like, hey guys, look at this thing here, 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 it then turns into a, oh, your content's changed. I don't kind of like that. And it kind of maybe deterred them from watching you. But then when everything goes okay, it's like, oh, good, that content's back that I enjoy. I just think that even, as I said before, if Hasbro tell us exactly what they want from us, we can work with them. I want to work with them. I want to promote the brand. I want to talk about it. Hell, I think I've written about 5 or 6 different videos on the first episode alone because there's so much content that you can talk about. But now I'm going to have to put that on the back burner and concentrate on other things before I can even get to that. And that kind of irritates me because I really want to make the content.
Yeah, it stifles you creatively, and that's you know, it's just, it's a bummer. It really is, because again, you know, there's a lot there to talk about with a lot of enthusiasm, but it's, you know, there's that fear of reprisal, that fear of action being taken against you, which shouldn't be there, you know, especially considering you want to talk about something you love. You know, I mean, it holds a special place in all of our hearts. I mean, that's why, excuse me, that's why we made content about it. That's why we've talked about it so much. That's why we go to these conventions that are centered around it, that we go to and meet, you know, the people involved, because it fascinates us so much. And to add to what you were saying about Mr. Weenie Productions, yeah, I remember when Saban, when the Saban Power Rangers channel was doing that to him, and I remember, yeah, it got so bad, it got to the point where he wasn't even using footage, or not using even screenshots anymore, but he was getting claimed for his thumbnails. I remember that, and it was that's horrible, and that's the thing, and I can see Hasbro doing the same thing. And again, you know, it's just like, this is somebody that is passionate about your brand, and they want to talk about it, and now you're even punishing them for the fact that they just used something just in their thumbnail for it. And I think it even got to the point, I think at one point, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty certain that the thumbnails that he was using were not even just, it wasn't just like the picture of a particular episode. They were like transformative works, because he was actually like putting himself in the thumbnail. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So at that point, it becomes a complete, you know, a transformative work. And I believe they were still, oops, sorry about that. They were still claiming the video. And I was just like, that's okay. That's getting ridiculous, you know? So it just, man, I feel your frustration with it, man, because I've seen situations like that unfold over the years, and I thought this was going to be a completely different approach. And hopefully, look, you know, I don't want to speak too soon, because Hasbro can still change, and hopefully somebody over there will, you know, hopefully cooler heads will prevail over there, and common sense will come through, and somebody will see that, hey, you know, it's not really a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And I think somebody will at some point in time. I don't know when. I hope it's relatively soon. And I only say that because, again, they have just started off this relationship with the fan base now. Hasbro's new, you know, and this is not a good way to start. Especially, I mean, look, YouTube, this is one of the best platforms to market their show, you know, and they're hamstringing themselves by doing this just as much as they're hamstringing the creators. Because again, you know, once, you know, less and less people are going to less and less people are going to be talking about it, and eventually that is going to affect your bottom line. I mean, especially now that everything is online these days. So
yeah, I mean, like, kind of also, like, one of the other videos they got, they claimed of mine, was talking about Battle for the Grid, which is the new video game coming out. Now, one thing that I like, just thinking about it, is like, I want to buy the game. I want to buy the whatever deluxe version that I can in the UK. You know, I want to stream it on the channel, or like play it, upload videos, even do loads of stuff like that. But when they claimed it, saying like you can't do this, like, blah blah blah. When I appealed it and said, look, I can, because this is actually a video game, this is up for fair use, there's nothing bad with it. They were like, no, still not doing it. But now what happens, say if I go buy the game, I enjoy playing it so much that I'm putting out, say, maybe 5-10 videos per day. Would be a lot, but that sort of thing. And then instantly, bam, 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 it gets to the point where my Gmail is like constantly blowing up because Hasbro don't like it. It's like, oh, this says that this is our video game. It's like, it's not, it's fair use, but then there could be someone else doing it and not being touched at all. And they're like going, well, is Hasbro favoriting them? Is Hasbro like just skip them completely? What is this sort of thing? And it kind of makes me think, why do this? As you said, like, they want to build, they should be building a good relationship with us, because again, we're excited. I'm not going to stop making the content. I'm going to be continue to produce it, because I think a few people are like, oh, are you going to stop now? I'm like, no, I've been doing this for ages, so I'm going to continue. But one thing, like when you mentioned about conventions, is I think at PAL that just went by, when Jason, and again, Jason's a really good guy, so this is obviously not against him, but if this was someone else on board saying like, hey guys, this convention is for you, this is for the fans, it's like, well, yeah, it's fans for the people watching the show, but what about all the press, the people that are wanting to make content? It feels a bit kind of fake, where it's like, hey, it's all for you, but not for you, and not for you, but the rest of you guys, it's absolutely fine, as long as you don't make a video on this. And it's just like, guys, seriously, work with us, we will work with you. Most of the YouTubers that do it, I mean, if you're uploading like full episodes and then nothing like that, then I can see like a massive like slap in the wrist and say, you shouldn't do this. But people that take time to make content, say, hey, I like this, you like this, what are your thoughts? It should work it, even if they have a list where you have to apply like the Nintendo program, where they won't take anything from the video, but then they look over your channel and go, you're safe, okay, no problem. If you do get a claim, appeal it within 24 hours, that will be gone, or in 5 hours it will be gone. That's what we kind of wanted. I think there was a Power Force that was for Saban, and again, I think they were all on a list where they could create content and they wouldn't be hit. So it'd be interesting if this was open for all of them and someone sat there and went, okay, you're absolutely safe, you're absolutely safe, you just upload full episodes, so you're not safe, and then like kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean, they would definitely garner good faith, but that's the thing, though. I mean, obviously, if somebody's doing something like uploading full episodes, obviously it's illegal. It violates the terms of service. But like for people making transformative work, or for the purpose of commentary and review, reporting, news, whatever, I mean, again, all falls under fair use. So they should be able to go ahead and make that content without, again, any fear of reprisal from the company that is producing the show. I mean, and that's the thing, like you said, that's a good point to bring up. It's just like, okay, you're okay, but you're not. I mean, well, you're not should be to the person that's actually doing something illegal that they're not supposed to be doing. So it's just, man, I hope it's something that, I really do hope that it's something that gets cleared up, because I definitely, as a content creator for, that makes this kind of content too, of course, now I'm a little bit hesitant to make it, but I also, I feel for all the other creators as well that are being hit by this, especially smaller creators than me. I mean, I'm a small creator, and then there's, smaller creators than us, that are also making content. And it's just like, there's people that have probably been motivated to, maybe all they've ever wanted to do is make this kind of content, but now they have to, now they're going to kind of be living in fear a little bit of making it, because of potentially being, having their channel striked, and it's over before it even started for them. So I'm really, really hoping that this is something that Hasbro clears up, and they clear it up soon, because it's, again, it's really, in my opinion, not going to help their bottom line. It didn't help Nintendo at all. It's not going to help Hasbro at all. And the crazy thing about it is that, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I could have sworn, I remember a time back, at least, in earlier years in YouTube, where Hasbro really didn't do this all that much. But apparently, I guess at some point in time, I guess that changed. I know that they're the biggest toy company in the world, and maybe they got a little bit more strict about their property all across the board. And maybe, you know, Power Rangers is just a kind of what would be the word? They're kind of a just a you know, collateral damage for that, I guess would be the way to put it. But or just another casualty of that by you know, due to these circumstances, due to this kind of like broad range. I don't know, but it's just it sucks. It sucks. And man, you know, I really want to see them change it, and hopefully I think eventually they will, fingers crossed. But I don't think even then, like with Saban Brands doing the whole Power Force thing, because I remember that. I remember I was never a part of it, but I remember when all that was going on. I was never a part of Power Force, and I never had any serious issues. I think the only time I ever had an issue was with the Saban Power Rangers channel claiming one of the videos I made, and I fought that, and luckily I won under fair use. So other than that, I mean, I never had any kind of issues like that. So, but like I said, I mean, I'm sure at some point they'll get around to me, because I have made some other Beast Morphers content prior to it coming out. So I wouldn't be surprised if they hit me at some point in time. Again, you know, knock on wood, but hopefully they'll get their heads out of their butts and do the right thing. But let's go ahead and open it up now to questions from the chat here, because we're about 15 minutes out from ending the stream here. So you guys can go ahead and ask whatever questions you want of Mark here or myself.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and have a conversation, y'all.
Yeah, so I'm having a look back at the questions previously asked.
Oh yeah, we'll go back and look. Yeah, if you want to field some of those, yeah, we'll go back to the beginning here and see what we got.
So at the very beginning, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you Matt. It's like Matthias. I'm really bad at names. He was like, I thought Saban owned Power Rangers, not Hasbro. So in case you didn't know, Hasbro bought the everything off Saban. He's still on board with it, from what I know, but he isn't, like, he hasn't got his fingers in the pies. He's at his pie and he's washing the dishes up. Let's close that.
Frederick Verse asks, how can we stop Hasbro from flagging Power Rangers content? I mean, we can't, unfortunately. In a situation like this, they kind of have the power, because they're a corporation, you know what I mean? So YouTube is going to side with them before siding with anyone like myself or with Mark. That's just the way it is, you know. Unless the only time I think that YouTubers like us would be protected is if we were part of a network, and even then, that doesn't always necessarily guarantee anything either, being a part of the network. So
don't join networks. I've been with to be fair, the one I was with was Maker Studio, and they were actually quite decent. But I hate full screen. But if you're a content creator, you're just starting, just keep making stuff. Don't ever go with a network, because the only thing they'll say is, hey, you get some free music, which you can pay for yourself, and it's a lot cheaper. Like, I would rather pay for my own music rather than give up like 50% of what I earn on YouTube and then never see anything from it. Other questions. So Orville Joe Jr. Says, all they care is the money. If you talk about Power Rangers, they just copyright it. So if you shut up, or they just want the money on your video ad, you won't get the money off that video. I think that you're okay about talking about Power Rangers. It's if you're using any of the content, like, hey, this is a picture of Roxy, she looks amazing in this episode, she's got so much sass, and you want to show that, that's when the Kings are no. But if I just said that in a video, then they absolutely be fine with it. I think they wouldn't even bother with it.
They can't come after they can't come after free speech, you know. They can't come after that. I mean, they would have a whole huge mess on their hands if they were just flagging content for people just even mentioning it in their videos without any kind of visual reference or anything like that. I mean, that would be a huge can of worms that I don't think Hasbro would want to get into then, because then at that point it becomes more of a free speech issue. So see, Jesus Eros said that's why Power Rangers gets hurt due to low ratings, the removing of channels. I mean, I don't know if those necessarily correlate. I mean, usually with and I've talked about it in the past before. I think what ends up leading to low ratings in shows is probably has to do with the networks they're on, and just the appeal of the show itself. But let me see. Let's keep going here with whatever you guys at. I'm going to see what are the questions. Couldn't you just talk about the episode and review, or just showing you no screen caps or other stuff, just you talking? I mean, you could. I believe that's what Brendan Mejia is doing when he does his reviews of Power Rangers episodes, which is something he's been doing as of late. I think all he does is just talk about it. He doesn't use anything. I don't know if he's using. I haven't seen any of the reviews he's done, but I know that Brendan Mejia is doing that he's been reviewing episodes, but it's just him on camera talking about the episodes, and that they won't go after that. And I don't think they would go after Brendan either, because he's kind of an alumnus. So they would probably, even if he was using visual reference, they would probably or maybe, they would let him get away with it, but I don't know. I can't say that with 100% certainty. Maybe he would also be punished or striked for that. But yeah, it's different for sure for just doing it like this.
Yeah, I made a joke on, I think, Twitter, and I found it funny, but then I kind of thought, like, would they all claim his videos because he's got the likeness to Tyler? And I generally thought, just claim. Why am I being so claimed? It's because I look like him. I am him. No. I generally thought, could they do that? But I've seen I think I saw his first review or his second review, and he just basically said he doesn't know how to add in clips or pictures. So he's just going to talk about it. I was like, do you know what? That's cool. I'm okay with that. So I think what you'll find is a lot of YouTubers that are or Ranger YouTubers will talk about this and go, yeah, we're not going to add pictures in, and then obviously get around it. So I think then Hasbro will turn around and go, hey, you're fine, you can use your photos now, but then won't tell anyone for like 2 years, and then it'll be like, oh, I'll give it a go, and then we all cut off. That's one thing Hasbro will do.
Yeah, that's man, that's wild. Let me see. Mass Rider Blue said, hell, a video I did comparing Saban and Disney areas, that video got flagged too. Yeah. Well, I mean, they have Hasbro has the license now. So, and that's the other thing too. It makes you wonder how far back, are they going to go with all that too? So it's almost like it's like me. Obviously I have a lot of, at this point, especially, I think I have a lot of videos that might have screenshots of just older stuff at this point before them, and I'm just kind of like, oh man, am I gonna wake up one day and see an email from them saying that this video has been claimed? I mean, a lot of them, they've already made their rounds, so I mean, there's probably not much more that they could really collect off them. But it still is just, you don't want to risk getting any kind of like strike on your channel, because that's the big thing. Like for me, I've been doing a lot of the streaming more often, and sometimes I get super chats and things like that. And if I get hit, and I get put in YouTube jail, I mean, I won't be able to get super chats. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which helped me tremendously. But and that's the thing. There's other people whose channels have been affected by strikes like that, where basically their livelihood is affected for those 6 months, where they can't, especially channels that are more like dedicated to streaming, that do like more podcast related stuff, or maybe even do like gaming related streams and stuff like that. So it's wild.
I think when you mentioned, like, would they go back and look at past stuff, I don't think they would, because, say, for example, if a channel had 2,000 videos, you'd have to sit through. And if, say, for example, they were 10 minutes long, you'd have to sit through and watch a ton of them before you could do that. So I think Hasbro's idea could be, hey, why not we just go for the newest one? So Beast Morphers, everyone's talking about it. Let's just search for Beast Morphers, everything, and go through that way. Because I don't think I've been copyright claimed on previous stuff. I think it's just literally all the Beast Morphers stuff that's been since like the first trailer dropped and then the episodes dropped that way.
Yeah, so man, and that's it, and that sucks. Again, that sucks within itself because again, it's the newest series. It's the one that that they're starting off with, and it's like the last thing you would want is to restrict people's ability to talk about it. I mean, it's the newest show. You want people to talk about it. You want people to tune in. You want people to buy the figures. You want people to be excited about it.
Yeah, so, exactly.
And it's just it to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them to do it. And that's why I'm hoping that they change their stance on it, and that somebody at Hasbro is like, looks at it and says, let's not do this anymore. let's let them, we're just starting here. Let's let them talk about our stuff. Let's let them talk about our stuff without any fear of reprisal from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody here says, Legal Latino Heat says, copyright strikes are the worst. I've served 2 90-day bans last year. I'm careful on my streams now. See, and that sucks, man, because I know, especially on the live streams, again, that you lose your ability to make super chats. And I know a lot of people that stream often, that's a good bulk of the revenue they're getting is from the super chats. And to lose the ability to do that, or to get that, it hurts YouTubers that are more on the streaming side. What is the Taker 31 says? If Bruno MMPR Toys gets flagged, then all YouTubers doing anything MMPR related are in trouble. Oh wow, Bruno got hit.
I don't know. I think when you're saying like if, so I don't think Bruno would do, because he doesn't really add in any screen caps or shows anything.
Yeah.
He just kind of talks about it, and then obviously he recreates some of the effects used in the show. So obviously with Bruno and Mia, that's what they kind of do. If literally they are taking MMPR as in the thing, I don't think, not unless the name is like copyrighted or something. So again, like they could turn around and say, well, we just really hit the keyboard and it spelled MMPR, and then we just added toys afterwards. But I don't think they'd get hit. But then again, maybe they've spoken to Hasbro, or they've got some sort of deal with Saban that they signed, saying like, we will keep doing this or whatnot. Again, that's just kind of a really random thought that just popped in. But I don't think they're going to get hit at all. I think that they're going to be safe for a very long time.
Yeah. Because I know, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, if because somebody was saying in the chat, or at least, I don't know if they're saying that they got hit, or Taker 31, are you saying that they got hit, or are you asking if they could? Because that'd be very interesting, because I know that Bruno, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was part of Power Force when Power Force was a thing, right?
Yeah, he was.
I would think, in a sense, he'd be one of the first ones to be kind of grandfathered into this new regime, I guess you could say. If that were the case, I mean, because I know he had some pretty close ties. Oh, they didn't. Okay. Yeah. He clarified they didn't. Okay, because I know he has some pretty close ties to people at Saban Brands. So I would think that he would still, he would probably have some of the people that were in Saban Brands that are now in Hasbro and have a little bit of an in. I'm not saying necessarily special treatment, but you build up your relationships over the years, and sometimes you get the rub. So so they said no, he hasn't been hit. Okay, it was just hypothetical. Okay, yeah, I mean, hopefully, I mean, look, I don't want anybody to be hit. I mean, regardless of whether it's Mr. Weenie Productions, Bruno, even Angry, or what's his name, not Angry Nerd, Black Nerd Comic. Yeah, I don't want nobody to get hit. I don't want, I hated to find out like that you got hit, and Ranger Liz and whoever else is out there making content, because it's just, again, for some people this is a hobby, and for others it's a way for them to make a living as well, or it's another, maybe it's just another an added source of income, supplemental income. And regardless of what it is for people, again, they should be able to make content without any fear of any kind of consequences. Like I said, unless they're actually doing something illegal, which again is totally justified. If somebody's uploading full episodes, then of course, I mean, yeah, you can't do that. That's breaking rules. So I know that Toei at times has gotten involved as well, depending, with like some Kamen Rider footage and things like that, and maybe even some Super Sentai footage in the past. I'm not sure if somebody had mentioned on the stream, on one of my streams not too long ago, they were saying that Toei was kind of getting a little bit more aggressive with flagging stuff as well. I don't know too much about that. I haven't seen too much of that going on, but I know that Toei has done it on occasion, that they've gone after people too. I don't think they've ever gone after people as aggressively as, say, the Saban Power Rangers channel did, or as aggressively as Hasbro is now. But I think Toei's I think with Toei it's probably a little bit more specific. What I always tell people, my approach, at least my approach to it, is that I think the best thing to do is try to transform whatever it is that you are presenting as much as possible, whether it be, put an effect on the video or slow down the footage, or, maybe zoom in on it a little bit more so it's not, so the algorithm doesn't detect it as much as a, so it doesn't, that it's not already like programmed in a sense that it's automatically detected by the algorithm. Just change it in a way that makes it really transformative, I guess, to be able to present it. That's what I always try to tell people when they are saying, well, I want to create this kind of content, do you have any advice? I will try to present it in the most transformative way possible. I mean, obviously it still belongs to these companies, but then that way, at least, again, it gives you a little bit of a leeway, or at least I hope it does, because again, sometimes you just need that visual aid to illustrate your point. So do any of you have any more questions in the chat? Because we're about to wrap this up. So feel free to ask any questions you might have there in the chat. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take a couple more questions. Then we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream for tonight.
Yeah. You don't think Hasbro would flag videos about problems of some certain PR shows, including Dino Charge? I don't know, because I think if you're talking in a bad light, because if you turn around and say, "Oh my God, like Dino Charge sucked ass, I hate it," rah rah rah, I think then they can turn around and say, "Oh, you're personally attacking us," flagged. But I think if you turn around and said, "Okay, I didn't like Dino Charge because of X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, and these are the reasons why, how I would change it," and then I think then they'd be like, "Oh, okay, maybe." But generally, it's again that I think that would be more kind of censoring, because it's more like it's your opinion. They're not going to, like, I don't want to sound bad, but I don't think they'd listen and be like, "Well, okay, boys, wrap up the filming because user 84282 has turned around and said we suck balls." No. And you're like, oh, I think it's more if it's criticism, and if it's kind of you're giving your thoughts on why, then it should be fine. That's how I've always kind of thought about it. If you can't give constructive criticism for your answer, then it's more like, why are you giving that answer in the first place?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And even if people were, obviously it's always best to, if you're making content, I would think, unless people can make any content they want, as long as they're again following guidelines and are within the law, it should be all right. I mean, even if people just want to make rant videos without necessarily having any kind of constructive criticism, it's their right to do it. Again, as long as you're doing everything within YouTube's rules and guidelines, you're not breaking any laws, you're not inciting any kind of violence or anything like that. And of course, those are extreme. That would be an extreme situation, but it's just it shouldn't matter exactly when it comes to your opinion. It's just again, it's It's your opinion. All right, so we got a couple more. Do you think Disney will sell the original PR movie to Hasbro? Maybe. I don't know. Possibly. Maybe. It's interesting though that they have something. Power Rangers once again, right? With the first movie, because it was 21st Century Fox movie. It's funny because when you think about it, especially if we're to believe what Saban said about Disney, they never wanted it to begin with, but now they have something. There's a little bit of an irony to that, that they have a Power Rangers property within their grasp once again. See, Lightning.
I think that they would have just gone straight back to like when they did the contract, be like, if anything, if you require or if you gain any Power Ranger related material, it comes back to us straight away. That's what I'd written in the comment or in the contract. Or maybe they'll just keep on with it because they've just released it on Blu-ray. And they know that fans have been like dying to have it on Blu-ray for such a long time. So I think that maybe they'll keep it for a while, and Hasbro will be like, oh no, you've got to give us that because it's our brand now.
Yeah. They'll probably reap the benefits of it for a little bit, and then maybe probably sell it back. All right. Have you seen pics of the Lightning Collection MMPR Pink Ranger figure? Read on a forum, they had it in Toy Fair UK, I believe.
So that might have been we get I think a Toy Fair before, in January, end of January, February, something like that, which basically everyone would have been at, I think, or it may have been something quite recent. But apparently they have the Pink Ranger's been out there, but Hasbro made sure that no pictures were taken. And I actually am all for that, because I think someone on Range Board, when I don't know if it was Dino Charge or if it was, I think it was the Legacy Collection. They had up they said no pictures, nothing whatsoever. And someone took pictures of the Legacy Ninja Zord and then posted it all on Ranger Board. And Bandai went absolutely mental. I don't know if they sued the person or if they did anything, but they just literally took everything down, including all videos. If any video showed it, boom, taken down straight away. So I believe that there is a Pink Ranger Lightning Collection, Lightning figure, but I don't think anyone's been able to take any photos. But I'm guessing that we'll probably see some stuff when the time is right, when they bring out Wave 2 or whatnot.
Yeah, they'll reveal it when they're ready. So
yeah,
that's interesting though. I've never heard of them doing that. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to thank Mark for joining us here. We got to have you on again sometime in the future, man. So
I am more than happy to come on. I'm more than happy to come on.
But go ahead and plug all your stuff, man, because
just my channel. If you like really random English people talking about Power Rangers and has many theories as well as reviews, come over to my channel and I've got to do live streams. Actually, that's one thing that one of my subscribers you've got to do live streams. And I was like, I don't know how to do them. So I think it's quite easy. I might do a YouTube one to give it a test. So yeah, if you want to come along and say stuff, then hey, come on board.
Yep, be sure to check out his channel. I went ahead and linked it in the description below of this video. That is Airlim, so you guys can go and check that out. And yeah, live stream is pretty easy, man. Especially if you use Google Hangouts, it's the easiest way to do it. So hope you guys will check out his channel. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your questions, and yeah, we'll do this again soon. I'm gonna try to see if I might live stream. There's a possibility I might live stream again tomorrow night. For those of you that want to come in and check that out, I'll go ahead and schedule it if I end up doing it. Or maybe I might have a live stream later on this evening. Who knows? Either way, I'll be sure to let you guys know on the social media. So be on the lookout for that. But we're going to go ahead and close this out right now. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for joining us once again. Appreciate you all. Until next time, hunt continues. You all take care and have a great night or morning, wherever it is you're at.
See you later, everyone.